We're on episode 6 of the Lost Railways of London. I've come out to there in the sunshine, the rear entrance of West Drayton, and for today's episode we're going to need a tape measure. So we're walking West Drayton to Uxbridge, trying to find and follow the path of the old railway which used to cross the canal shortly after leaving West Drayton, which is why I'm starting my walk on the Grand Union. I think we could do with a summary though, like an overview and a map.
The map here is really pertinent because in the previous episode we walked the line that went up from Staines to West Drayton. And the curve of track that is still there in use by freight trains at West Drayton also used to be used by the line that we're following today, this time heading north with one station called Cowley en route and terminating at Uxbridge Vine Street. Sadly, almost all of it has been obliterated by housing, with just paths and loads of alleyways in between them where the line used to be. But that's something you can clearly see if you look on Google Map 3D view. So I've walked up the canal to get to a point where the railway used to cross the canal on a bridge on the other side of a park.
So the park is over there. There would have been a bridge right here above my head crossing the canal that is here, and then it would have gone through this point here, which is now a gate, goes past a big shop and then follows the alignment. There's loads of places on this line which are now dead straight roads or alleyways, and I'm going to walk along them all. So this carpet warehouse railway would have run right through here. This narrow footpath between houses leading to St Clement Close railway would have been here. This backstring alley with the shopping trolley that's not even shown on the map on my phone is the path of the railway.
But you do eventually stumble upon something which indicates that there was an old railway line here. This is Peachy Lane, and you can see here where the road very gradually rises and was a little bridge over, well, there's nothing now, just some allotments, but this is where the line ran. And then off to the north there's a footpath, and look what they've named it. Does that ring any bells? I think it does, and a clue to what's coming up next. And so you walk down the footpath, yet again, in a straight line, the alignment of the old railway.
So this is just a long straight path, and sadly there's no like gradient markers, there's no like electricity poles, there's no kind of like railway paraphernalia stuff left behind, and I can sense your disappointment, so we're going to spice up the video a bit by having a quick map insert.
Here's a map I've made to accompany this series showing all the places in London which I've visited. There's a link in the description. We can go in and download it as a high-res PDF. Enjoy. Oh, and whilst you've been doing that, I've got to Cowley Station.
This is Cowley Station. If we do a 360 or 180, you can see that there's nothing left to see here. We're standing in Huxley Close. I was hoping that this house here, and I just got chatting to the lady that lives here, it might have been called the old station house or something, but no, but she confirms and assures me that this is the location of where Cowley Station was.
You keep following the footpath north and you get to another clue. That's when you get to a road with another raised hump which the railway used to run under. Oh, and actually, it's even called Station Road, even though there's now obviously not a station here anymore. And all this is just seconds away from the pièce de résistance of this whole walk, and the moment that you've been needing your tape measure for. Off of Cleveland Road, find the entrance to Brunel University, yes, named after Isambard, within which there is a small garden nature reserve area. It's in the exact spot where the railway cutting would have been, now infilled, and look, they've placed some broad gauge track inside. Just fabulous.
So it's not original track, but it is broad gauge track. It's replica broad gauge track which they've subsequently laid here, and it's the reason that I've brought my tape measure, because I just want to check that they have laid it to the right gauge.
While Stephenson's standard gauge is 4 feet 8.5 inches, Brunel's wide gauge is 7 feet and a quarter inch, although originally it was spec'd at exactly 7 feet, but then a quarter inch was later added on. And hey, that's pretty much spot on here with my tape measure. I will take that. The broad gauge on this line only lasted 15 years, between when it opened in 1856 until 1871 when it was converted down. I do wonder though if that wider gauge allowed for faster 100-mile-an-hour trains to speed up and down the line towards Uxbridge. Leaving Brunel behind, I spotted this one cutting behind a fence, and then it's just more back alleys, oh look, another shopping trolley, and cycle paths until you get to the end at Uxbridge Vine Street.
And that is the site. That large office block there, Hertz House, is the site of where Uxbridge Vine Street station was. Again, if you look on Google 3D views, you can spin round, see the large footprint that the station and the goods yard next door to it would have taken up a large space. It's all gone, obliterated by modern buildings nowadays. It is worth mentioning that there's been 2 Metropolitan line tube stations here in Uxbridge along with Vine Street, and another 4th station, Uxbridge High Street. I could do that as another Lost Railway that heads north off in towards the Children's. Might do that in a future episode. In the meantime, press subscribe. There's a playlist. This is number 6. Number 7 coming up next.